Hey everyone, just wanted to do a video today over homeschooling, what it looks like for our family, the curriculum that we use, and give people an idea of what options are out there and where to find some of those options, because it seems a lot of people are seeking information over homeschooling right now. So a little background information. I have 3 sons. We live the ranching, homesteading, farming lifestyle. We have homeschooled for the last 7 years. I have one son that's going to be a freshman in high school for this up and coming school year, and then a 6th grader and soon to be 3rd grader. We use Classical Conversations. It's what we've used for the last 6 years. We appreciate it because it gives us a community to homeschool with. It gives me other moms to be able to talk to about the same kind of stuff, whether it's homeschooling, just life in general while homeschooling, because that looks different too. And it also gives my kids friends that are walking through homeschooling also, that they do the same kind of things. It makes it more normal for them since homeschooling isn't so popular in our small town where we live. So I'm going to show you what all curriculum we're going to be using for the up and coming year, and hopefully it'll help you out. Okay, so our morning time, which if you've been in the homeschool community at all, you know this is just a phrase people use, morning time. It was sort of coined or used by Pam Barnhill. She's a great person to look up, especially if you're starting out homeschooling with littles. But we start our mornings with what we call morning time. We start out with reading a little something from the Bible, and then for a while we were reading through theology, which just is a great way to introduce a little bit of theology and some of the cornerstones from the Bible, but in an easier to understand story form. We also use the Mystery of History. We are reading through the 3rd volume right now, but we have volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I appreciate it because it's something I can open up, I can read to my kids. It's interesting, and it also has some activities in there if you want an activity to do that goes along with the lesson. Now, we also, I mentioned, use Classical Conversations. My 2 youngest are in the Foundations program, and what they do is something called New Grammar. It's memory work, and so we spend about 15 minutes going over our memory work for the week in the mornings. Alright, something new I got for this year is a book from Classical Conversations. It's new. It's called Scribblers at Home, Recipes for Lifelong Learners, and I'm thinking that this is going to fit into our morning time. It's marketed more towards your 8 and under crowd, but the things that are in it really are great for the whole, like, everyone that you could be teaching to listen to. So it has some things in there like some poetry that you could read. It also has other things, like this one goes over literature, like talking about plots, the rising action, falling of the action, where your climax would be. I think this is just going to be a great resource of information that I can turn to maybe simplify some things or also introduce them to my kids. All right, next is my stack of books that I'm going to be using for my up and coming 3rd graders. So this is some, like, it's lesson plans over books from Memorial Press is where I got this from. And it says 2nd grade literature, but I have 3 boys. They take a little bit longer to really be fluent with their reading, and so we're going with 2nd grade instead of 3rd grade. This just has like books in it, when to read them, kind of thing. I don't really follow this lesson plan. I just mostly follow it for the books. So it has books in it like Prairie School, and it comes with like this little study guide that we don't use them for worksheets. I open them up and I ask the questions that are inside, so that after they've read the book, they have to answer some of the questions so that they know that there's some reading comprehension there. And they're just some fun books like these Animals, Folk Tales of America. There's also Little House in the Big Woods, I think, is in this set, but I'm not sure. You can pick and choose the books, of course, that you want to read. So my youngest, that's going into 3rd grade, just finished up with his last year of phonics, and so this year we're going to really focus on reading comprehension, and fluency, and then we also have Saxon Homeschool Math for grade 3. I love Saxon Homeschool Math because it's easy. You just go to the next book, And we also use Nicole the Math Lady, which is an online math service where she teaches the lessons out of these books, and then the kids do the questions on the computer. They input their answer and it's graded for them, and I get to print out a report at the end of the year that gives me their grades. All right, next is my up and coming 6th grader. He will be in the Saxon Math 7-6 books, and he does this online with Nicole, the math lady. And then we have our writing and language arts program through Classical Conversations. So in Classical Conversations, 4th through the 6th grade, they start what is called the Essentials program. Essentials of the English Language is the first part of the program during the day, where they go over English grammar, how to use those parts of speech, the different types of sentences, that kind of thing. And then they go over to IEW, history-based writing. In Classical Conversations, we go through 3 cycles, Cycle 1, Cycle 2, and Cycle 3. We are currently in Cycle 2, which is medieval history. Next year is Cycle 3, that's whenever we go over U.S. history. So all of his writing is going to be based on U.S. history. So it's a way to write and improve his writing while learning a little bit more about history. One thing I haven't got yet is a spelling curriculum for my 3rd grader, or like an intro to language arts for my 3rd grader. We are just focusing mostly on reading, and then I'll be finding something for spelling with him. With Essentials, there is spelling in this guide, so that it really does cover everything that you need for language arts. There's also book suggestions that go along with the history-based writing for you to be able to read with your student, to just take things a little bit deeper. All right, this is the intimidating stack of books that'll be for my freshmen. Now, everything here I'm not going to expect him to do. I have not got my guide in for Challenge 1, which is the book that you get from Classical Conversations that breaks down the year for you, to know how I'm going to tailor this program to fit his needs. But these are all the books that you will use during the course if you decide to do all the strands. So we have traditional logic, and then there's a debate strand, and they're going to be going over the taming of the shrew in debate. There's also physical science, and they use apologia. We have algebra 1/2. Now for your freshman year, if you were on par with everybody else your age, it would be algebra 1 for your freshman year. But we need a little extra time, so we're doing algebra 1/2. The part I'm most excited about for Blake's challenge year, his freshman year, is the economics that we're going to be going over. So we have the money mystery, whatever happened to penny candy, and the blue stocking guide to economics. I think this is really important for people to learn how to manage money, because it's something a lot of adults are lacking. We also have words aptly spoken, American documents, and then American literature. And this is the stack of books to be read this year. Now, I can tell you right now that my freshman age son is not going to read all of these books, and most of them he will probably listen to an audible version. But there's some really great books in here that I'm probably more excited to read than he is. So, and with these books, they are, I didn't get these out, but they are expected to use Lost Tools of Writing to write persuasive essays over one of the issues or characters in these books. And now they don't write one over every single one of these, but just a few of them. Another thing I didn't set out is that with Challenge 1 kids, they do Latin, and that is their foreign language. And a lot of people don't understand why Classical Conversations or anybody in general would study Latin. And it really helps with the understanding of your own language, because of how you have to dig deep into the grammar of it. But it also helps with understanding some other words, because Latin is the root of a lot of the words that we use, especially in the medical community. So you've heard me mention Classical Conversations a lot. It's just what we use. We really enjoy it. I enjoy that the things are laid out for me. I still get to pick and choose what I want to use from it, but it gives me a basis to start with. It also gives my kids other kids to do school with, and me other moms to be able to bounce ideas off of and talk to. If you want more information about Classical Conversations, you can go to their website, www.classicalconversations.com. If you click on the events tab, you can find events near you, like an information meeting. You type in your zip code and you can get in contact with somebody to have an information meeting with, and they will explain it to you further. They also during the summer have parent practicums, which is like a one-day free homeschool convention sort of, but it's only over Classical Conversations. It's a great place to start if you're interested. I also attend a greater homeschool convention because I just like seeing what's out there. They usually have a huge curriculum hall that you can walk through and see what all resources are out there, and they have some really great speakers that you can listen to just to get new ideas for the year, to see what else is out there, to especially if something isn't working for you, to get some new ideas. Homeschooling is not as hard as most people think. I am a nurse by trade. I had no intentions of homeschooling my children at all, but after my oldest son was in the first grade and couldn't read, and they kept hounding me saying he can't read, he can't read, he can't read, but they were doing nothing to help with it, I decided that if they were going to send us home with so much homework and it was taking 1 to 2 hours a day, that I might as well just homeschool him if we're going to be doing this. So I pulled him, and he got to go at his own pace, and he learned how to read just fine. The hardest part of homeschooling is not teaching your child. It is the parenting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because they don't go somewhere else for their education. That's the hardest part. It does create some different dynamics in the home if your kid has already been to public school and you're pulling them out. If you've never had your kid in public school, then it's just an extension of what you're already doing, so it doesn't create like a mess. It is hard sometimes to go from public school into homeschooling because your kid can either be really happy about it because they wanted to be home, they didn't enjoy school, or there can be some resentment if they enjoyed school but you didn't think that it was the place that they should be. Those are some hard things to walk through, but you do get through. There's lots of resources out there too. You can outsource, like we outsource our math because I am a math person. My kids are not math people or math-minded people, so it's harder for me to teach them, and I outsource that, and they're learning it just fine. There's options, there's books that you open and it's scripted, you read it to your kid, you do the activity, and you're done. Or if you're more free-minded, you can get whatever books and homeschool however you want. If you just Google or whatever search engine you use, your state and homeschooling requirements, you're usually going to find a page that can tell you what's required to pull your kid out of school, what's required to homeschool your kid in your state, like if you have to keep certain records or turn in grades or hours done. In Texas, it's really easy. You withdraw your student using a withdrawal letter that you mail to the school that you can get off. I think it's Texas Homeschool Coalition. You can get some templates off of there, mail it into your school, pull them out, and you're done. You don't have to submit anything else. You're required to be able to prove that you are teaching them reading, writing, arithmetic, and good citizenship. And all these things can be found online. There's tons and tons of resources online. All you have to do is start searching, and there's usually a community to do things with. We do use Classical Conversations, and we do have to pay to use it. But there's other free ones out there. Like in the small town that we're at, we can drive 30 minutes and go join a homeschool, like a recess co-op where they meet once a week to go play at a park or do an activity. Or there's another one that's like a PE co-op. So it's like elementary age kids, they can meet and have like recess PE once a week. Then there's another co-op, even still, there's one called Wild and Free, I think. There's, what else is there? Trail Life for boys, that's a big one that you don't have to homeschool with, but it's like Boy Scouts, but it's more Christian minded. There's so many options out there. And then like even in our small town, we don't have access to be able to do like sports in junior high and high school with homeschooling, but we can be a part of 4-H, and so we stock show and they do competitions through 4-H. In other states, you can do sports and things with the local schools, but that's all different for each state. So you just have to look into what is legal in your state and what they offer. But there's a ton of resources, and it's not like the taboo thing that it used to be. It's pretty widely accepted that people homeschool. I hope somebody finds this helpful, and maybe it'll help you get started on your road to homeschooling, or if you're already homeschooling, to see some other options and curriculum out there. I hope you found this helpful, and have a good day.